A brief introduction to the P3 Investment Club. Passive income is the ideal concept for financial independence. Royalties, interest, and dividends from investments are all examples of passive income. The most common one, of course, is the concept of a pension. Most people strive to get to a position in life without the necessity of having to work. Very few actually succeed. There are numerous schemes and scams that promise people passive income, but almost all of them are just empty promises. Just think for a moment about wealth. The so-called rich may have money, but they don't have time. Poor people, on the other hand, may have lots of time, but no money. In the middle, where most of us belong, we find ourselves in a position where we have neither time nor money. True wealth and true success is to have both time and money. So just imagine for a moment that you could arrive at a point where you have a constant income stream big enough so that you never have to work again. This is what this presentation is all about. P3 can make this dream a reality. The P3 Investment Group has been established in 2003 and is currently all over South Africa. We are registered with the Estate Agency Affairs Board, and P3 Consult is an authorized financial services provider in South Africa. We are today the leading organization for wealth creation and financial freedom through property investment. Let's quickly look at how the financial industry portrays the financial position of an individual. If you contribute 15% of your gross monthly salary over 40 years of your life, you should be able to retire at about 70% of your last monthly salary. This graph, as designed by a major retirement annuity company, shows us that even if you retire with 70% of your end salary and cut your expenses to 60% of your normal expenses, with a 5% inflation rate, your pension will only last you about 5 years and you will start running short. This graph clearly shows us that traditional pensions and retirement annuities do not work. The insurance companies admit this, but they do not offer an alternative. Property provides us with an excellent alternative to give us an inflation-linked income for life. It doesn't die with you, and it can benefit your children throughout their lives. P3's concept of property investment is not to buy property and sell it again at a profit. No, the P3 concept is to buy property and keep it. We are not interested in the short-term profit, but rather in long-term income streams. We believe that true wealth is not really to have a lot of money, but rather to have a stream of money that will never run dry. Therefore, don't confuse the concept of speculation with the P3 concept of true investment. There is something that you need to understand clearly in order to grasp the whole idea of property investment. It involves the terms shortfall and surplus. When you buy a property and let it, the rental income is usually less than the combined expenditure of each month. If you have a rental income of 4,000 and your bond repayment, taxes and levies and management fee is 5,400, you have a shortfall of 1,400 Rand per month. This will be the only money leaving your pocket since the rental income covers the rest. The shortfall becomes less and less as the rental income rises over the years. When the expenditure is fully covered by the rental income, we have no shortfall anymore. Instead, we start to receive a monthly surplus. This means that your investment is now cash flow positive. You are making money on a monthly basis. Let's do a quick comparison between what society can do for you with their concept of retirement funds as opposed to what P3 can do for you with true property investment. Let's say a young person has 2,000 Rand to save towards his retirement in 40 years' time. The annual escalation of his contribution is 5%. What kind of capital will he be accumulating over 40 years? 22 million Rand sounds quite great, but what if we assume an average inflation rate of 8% over this period? 22 million Rand in 40 years from now will then be the same as only 850,000 Rand today. Now let's look at how property compares to that. What I'm illustrating next is not the P3 system, but rather a simplified example to compare apples with apples. So, take the same amount, 2,000 Rand a month, and escalate your investment annually by 5%. Buy a property with a monthly shortfall of 2,000 Rand or less, and just make your investment by paying the shortfall and what is left of the 2,000 Rand into the bond account of that property. Since you are going to pay more than the required monthly installment, the bond will be paid off quicker. As time goes by, you'll find that the increasing annual rentals will make the shortfall go away altogether. Your 2,000 Rand monthly contribution and the monthly surplus that comes out of this transaction then becomes a further acceleration to settle the bond. Your first property will be paid off in about 10 years. You should then buy a second property to keep the 2,000 Rand working for you in exactly the same manner. This first property, however, produces a rental income. If you add this rental income to the bond account of the second property, it dramatically decreases the time of settling the loan. Your second property is therefore paid off in just about 6 years after the first one. If you repeat this procedure by buying the third property, adding the 2,000 Rand plus the other 2 properties as rental income, the third property should be paid off in 3.5 years. In the same manner, the fourth property will be paid off in the next 2 years, and the fifth property only 1.5 years later. If you carry on doing this for 40 years, to compare it with a 40-year annuity, you will end up having about 15 properties that are fully paid for, producing about 40,000 Rand per month. The asset value should be around 6 million Rand. This is all illustrated in today's time value of money, not with the inflation-linked figures that will of course be much higher. If we do the comparison, all doubt should now be cleared. Just look at how much better property is. Look at the asset values. 850,000 as opposed to 6 million Rand. Look at the income figures. Only 3,500 as opposed to 40,000 Rand per month. What is more is that your annuity savings will be used up and depleted, whereas property income will never end and is linked to an annual inflation increase. My question to you is, how can you not be in property? Property is the only alternative. Nothing else will give normal people out there a similar opportunity to become financially free. You might worry about the fact that you will be making debt. Most people have been taught to stay away from debt. This is normally sound advice, but one must make the distinction between good debt and bad debt. Bad debt is debt to finance your lifestyle, like expensive cars, clothing accounts, expensive holidays, etc. To live a life beyond your means can lead to major problems, and you can end up in a spiral of debt which is like a black hole in space. It sucks you in and there is no escape. Good debt, on the other hand, is used by most businesses and is a well-accepted business principle. Business people use loans to finance assets which will generate enough income to pay back the debt and still make a profit. You will have liabilities, but your assets will balance it out. Over time, your assets will increase in value and debts will decrease. This is how you build up equity. The most important thing here, however, is to have enough cash flow to service your debt. Otherwise, you can run into trouble even though your assets may be worth a lot more than your debt. People are generally scared to get involved in property investment because of the negative rumors associated with letting. This is sad because people are really ignorant and often allow themselves to be drawn into negativity. The reality of letting is not so bad. P3 has excellent solutions to all possible situations, and we believe that you should never lose money because of bad tenant management. We encourage people to make use of good rental agents who know what they are doing. All you then have to do is to manage your rental agent. This way, the amount of time you spend with your properties can really be less than an hour in a month. If you are still scared, you can take out rental insurance to ensure that your monthly income is uninterrupted even if your tenant defaults. Rental insurance is highly affordable, and it includes the whole eviction process with legal costs and all. We don't say that you will never have problems, but the trouble you'll have will really be nothing compared to the end result. When you join P3, you are personally assigned to a mentor who will sit down with you one-on-one and work out your personal plan for financial freedom through property. The value of having someone that takes your hand and guides you through the process is priceless. So why don't you join the P3 Investment Club today? You can join us directly by way of downloading an application form, or you may request to attend a live presentation where you can ask all your questions. Once we have received your application to buy our famous property in a box, you will receive 24 months of free membership. The box contains a lot of useful information and tools. As a P3 member, you will also have access to all the tools and information in our member section of the website, and you will receive regular emails with the best property deals in South Africa. You will be kept up to date with the latest property news. You are free to attend our annual advanced workshop, and you can make use of our free legal advice. So, complete your application, receive your property in a box, study the book manual and play with the software. More importantly, make an appointment for your personal consultation in order to have your unique plan that you can follow towards financial independence and passive income. We wish you all the best for a fantastic, bright new future with P3.